Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, February 25, 2016. Join us in the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are here to give you carefully gathered stories, assuring you of accurate, truthful, and balanced newscasts. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
We are also seen in 1,360 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through www.untvweb.com. And this is
Y News.
Here are the headlines. President Benigno Aquino III leads the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the EDSA People Power Revolution today. The People Power Commission opens the first Experiential Museum for public viewing. Protest rally welcomes the 30th anniversary celebration of the EDSA People Power Revolution.
The local government of Calaca, Batangas sends home the residents affected by the LPG Depot Fire incident. Authorities are looking into the possibility of arson in a Luma evacuation camp in Davao City. And the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology says phreatic explosions may happen again in Mount Bulusan.
First in the news. Today marks the last time that President Benigno Aquino III will lead the anniversary celebration of the EDSA People Power Revolution. Grace Casin will tell us why.
This is the last term of President Benigno Aquino III to lead the 30th anniversary celebration of the EDSA People Power Revolution. After singing the national anthem, it was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance of the Philippine flag. Together with President Benigno Aquino III are former President Fidel Ramos, House Speaker Feliciano Belmonte Jr., members of the cabinet, and the foreign dignitaries. Personalities who fought against the dictatorship are being given awards. The legendary unity walk between the civilians and the military, or the Salubungan, had been reenacted. New military air assets of the Armed Forces of the Philippines were also presented during the celebration. Meanwhile, Angelo Castro III still recalls their struggle during the EDSA People Power Revolution in 1986. He is very proud of his mother June Keithley Castro, who called on the Filipino people to go to EDSA and join the peaceful revolution against the Marcos dictatorship.
Nagsimula sila sa walkie-talkie lang na relay hanggat sinabi ni General Ramos, why not go on air? So my mom would give encoded message on air to the soldiers, back to him, hanggat sinabi, bakit di ka na lang manawagan sa tao? So yun ang ginawa ni Mami. Hindi alam ng lahat, she was broadcasting right in front of Malacanang.
Daughter of former Senator Agapito Butz Aquino, Jackie Aquino says the bravery of the Filipinos who sacrificed for democracy is priceless.
Kailangan talaga yung mga magulang ikwento nila sa mga anak nila.
President Aquino left a message for the current generation.
Kayo ang pinakamakikinabang kung mapapangalagaan ang ating kalayaan. Kaya't naway maunawaan ninyo ang tangan niyong responsibilidad. Naway mag-ambagan kayo tayong lahat upang hindi na kailanman muling manaig ang kadiliman sa Pilipinas. Naway ang kalayaan kay tagal nating miniti ay hindi na mababawing muli.
Students who joined the EDSA People Power Anniversary thanked the Filipino who fought for us to obtain peace.
Feeling grateful na ginawa nila yung dati, and hanggang ngayon nagpapasalamat kasi kami without their actions before, wala namang ganito.
Grace Casin reporting for Y News.
The first People Power Experiential Museum is now open to the public and the government plans to make it permanent. Lois Balancio will tell us why.
Around 500 students together and teachers from public schools in Quezon City, Mandaluyong, Pasig, and San Juan City went to Camp Aguinaldo to see the first People Power Experiential Museum. Ariana is one of them who went to Camp Aguinaldo to reminisce the sacrifices and efforts of the Filipino nation during the martial law period up to 1986 People Power Revolution through the People Power Experiential Museum. And for the young people like her who have felt somehow and experienced even for a while the sacrifices of people during the martial law period, she now appreciates democracy more.
Ngayon po, nasa democratic way of government na po tayo, na which is malaya na po tayo. So, sa part po namin ngayon, siguro po, ipagpapatuloy na lang po namin kung ano po yung nasimula ng ating mga naunang pinuno.
It was 9:30 in the morning when President Aquino III arrived at the museum together with his cabinet members, allies, and some LGU officials in Metro Manila. Among those who went with the president was Congresswoman Leni Robredo.
Tama lang na yung hindi napagdaanan yon, bigyan ng pagkakataon na malaman at matutunan kung ano yung pinagdaanan natin, kasi parang napapawalang halaga yung nakamtan natin na kalayaan ngayon kung walang appreciation ng sacrifices ng mga taong nauna sa atin.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the EDSA People Power Commission Assistant Secretary Celso Santiago says the People Power Commission, or EPPC, is looking for a place where the museum can be set up permanently.
EDSA People Power Commission po ay in talks now with the Quezon City local government. We're exploring po the option na ilipat siya sa QCX. Lilitan po ng konti yung version pero same experience po. Ilalagay po siya sa Quezon City Circle.
The official also said it plans to build the museum in 2 months' time before President Aquino's term ends. EPPC is hoping its plan to construct its own 1986 Memory Museum behind the People Power Monument at EDSA Santolan Avenue will proceed. Joyce Balancho reporting for Y News.
President Benigno Aquino III hopes that the dark era under the Marcos regime will not be repeated. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
President Benigno Aquino III dedicated a large part of his speech in criticizing former President Ferdinand Marcos and the martial law era.
Hayagan kong sinasabi ngayon, bilang bahagi ng henerasyong pinagdusa ng diktadurya, hindi golden age ang panahon ni Ginoong Marcos. Isa itong napakasakit na yugto ng ating kasaysayan.
The President did not also spare Senator Bongbong Marcos from his criticisms.
Totoo nga naman po, kasabihan, kasalanan ng ama ay hindi dapat ipataw sa anak. Pero masakit, yung pong kadugo ng diktador sa mahabang panahon ay pwede namang sinabing nagkamali ang aking ama o nagkamali kami. Bigyan nyo kami ng pagkakataong iwasto ito. Pero isipin na lang po ninyo, ito ang tahasang naging pagsagot niya. And I quote, I am ready to say sorry if I knew what I have to be sorry for.
The President also expressed his disappointments on the failure of the Congress to pass the Bangsamoro Basic Law or the BBL. For this, the President put the blame on Senator Marcos.
Talagang naghihinayang ako. Dahil ang tanging batas na maghahatid ng katarungan at kapayapaan, sadya pa pong talagang hinarang. Di po ba? Ang BBL na ipit sa Senado sa Committee para sa Lokal na Gobyerno na pinamumunuan ni Senador Marcos. Di ba nung pinakahuling araw ng sesyon, tuloy pa rin ang pag-interpellate ni Senador Enrile.
This is the last attendance of President Aquino in the yearly commemoration of EDSA People Power Revolution as President of the country. Nel Maribuhok, reporting for Y News.
Senator Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is expecting that certain groups will resurrect the issue of martial law under his father's regime. Meanwhile, Senator Juan Ponce Enrile posed a challenge to these groups. Darlene Basingan will tell us why.
Criticisms are pouring against Senator Bongbong Marcos, the son of the late President Ferdinand Marcos, on the issue of martial law. Some of the critics who claim to be martial law victims say they do not want the Marcoses to be reinstalled at the Malacanang, in fear that the past dictatorship would relieve.
Former student regent of the Rizal Technological University, Patrick Plandiano believes that Senator Marcos should explain his role in his father's regime, especially because he is now a vice presidential candidate, and to prove that he is different from his father. Meanwhile, Emilio Aniceta, who served as a photographer during the late President Marcos's time, says it is not right to blame the young Marcos for his father's dictatorship. Aniceta was a war correspondent during the EDSA revolution. He is now working as a Senate photographer.
Si Bongbong, anak lang. Ba't mo sisisihin yung anak? Wala alam yun.
For his part, Senator Marcos believes that the revival of the issue on the martial law is just part of the political tactics.
Merong tumututol, meron na bumabatikos, pero meron din sumusuporta. Umaasa lang tayo na mas marami yung sumusuporta kaysa bumabatikos.
Meanwhile, Senator Juan Ponce Enrile dares the critics of Senator Marcos to just file a complaint as regard to the issue of martial law. Enrile explains that martial law is a constitutional act. He lambasted all critics of the late President Marcos, citing that even the late President Corazon Aquino had become a dictator when she trashed the 1973 Constitution and replaced it with the Revolutionary Constitution. Senator Enrile adds that the programs and policies that the former presidents had are all rooted to Marcos era. Darlene Basingan reporting for Y News.
Despite the yearly commemoration of the EDSA People Power Revolution, many Filipinos are still not fully aware of this important chapter in the country's history. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Every year, we remember the EDSA People Power Revolution as one of the most significant events in our history. As we are now enjoying the democracy brought by the revolution, we are expected to at least be knowledgeable of how this event changed the lives of every Filipino. Most of the young people seem to have forgotten this momentous event in our history.
Since it's holiday today and there are many people outside, we have roamed around to talk to random people and see if they really know what the country is celebrating today. Alam mo ba bakit holiday ngayon?
Ano po, EDSA Revolution.
EDSA Revolution. Ano nangyari ng EDSA Revolution?
Ay, hindi ko alam.
Kaya nagka ng EDSA Revolution, gawa ng yung kay Ninoy Aquino. Tinaguri ang bayani ng ng ating bansa.
Pagkamatay ng mga bayan.
Pag-unita ng yung siguro pag celebrate ng EDSA Revolution ni sino ba? Epifanio de los Santos. Siguro yung mga digmaan. Hindi ko alam.
Even those who lived during the revolution have also seemed to have forgotten this part of history.
Nakakita po ang mga tao sa Malacanang ng helicopter, pero hindi pa po nila masabi kung sino yung naandun sa Yung po pala, si Marcos po, bali po inano na po siya ng mga Americans.
Ko po masyadong natatandaan, medyo matagal na kasi.
On the other hand, more Filipinos can still remember the EDSA People Power Revolution. Out of the 30 people we interviewed today, 23 was able to pass our history exam.
Yun natang pagkakako ng martial law. 3 dekada ka.
Nagtipon-tipon lahat ang mga tao, ang simbahan, ang military at ang mga kababayan natin sa mapayapang paraan na pagtanggal sa diktadoryang Marcos.
Alala mo kung anong taon nangyari EDSA Revolution?
Well, 1986 to be exact, at February 25.
According to Bernard Carganilla, a social scientist and historian, the EDSA People Power contributed not only to our history but to the history of the world.
Itong pangyayari sa EDSA ang naglagay sa mapa ng terminong People Power. Kaya mula noon, sa recent past o sa nakalipas, itong 3 dekada, nakilala yung people power dahil sa atin sa mga Pilipino. Mas importante ron na tayo yung una sa serye ng mga kilosang people power na tumumba sa mga diktadurya.
He added that the academe and the family played important roles in educating the Filipinos, especially the youth, about the history of our country. Joyce Balancho reporting for Y News.
Motorists have been experiencing light traffic along EDSA today. Mon Hocson is at EDSA White Plains, Quezon City to tell us why live. Good evening, Mon.
Yes, Gerry, suspension of classes and work this holiday had loosened heavy traffic in some major roads in Metro Manila, especially in EDSA. Let us check the traffic situation. Moderate traffic now approaching Muñoz southbound lane, but after Muñoz area, the traffic will loosen up until Nia Road. Light to moderate traffic will be experienced starting from EDSA Camoning southbound all the way to EDSA Cubao Aurora. Traffic in Cubao Farms in EDSA is also fast-moving until Santolan flyover in front of Campo Crame. Light to moderate traffic is also expected southbound of EDSA Connecticut and also in approaching Ortigas area. Light traffic in front of SM Mega Mall but gradually building up approaching crossing underpass in Mandaluyong. Vehicles going Makati will start to slow down slightly in Orense Guadalupe but light traffic in Buendia and EDSA Ayala. Meanwhile, motorists will experience light traffic also in EDSA northbound starting from Magallanes Interchange all the way to Ayala, Buendia, Orense, Pioneer, Boni, and EDSA Shaw Boulevard. Light traffic starting from Mega Mall and Ortigas flyover northbound and light traffic also in White Plains and slightly moving and slightly gradual building up in Santolan but fast moving in Cubao Farmers and EDSA Cubao Aurora. Light traffic is also experienced in front of Mega Q Mart all the way to Nia Road and Quezon Avenue flyover. Reminders to motorists, number coding will resume tomorrow morning 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. All vehicles with plate numbers ending in numbers 9 and 0 is prohibited in all major roads in Metro Manila from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But window hours is implemented from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. except in the city of Makati and Las Piñas. And that's a traffic update. Back to you, Gerry.
Thank you, Mon Hocson, reporting live from EDSA White Plains, Quezon City.
Violence erupted this morning while the 30th anniversary of the EDSA People Power Revolution was taking place. Mon Hocson, tell us why.
The spirit of EDSA People Power Revolution that gained international praise was tainted with violence when police tried to bar rallies in their attempt to get closer to the EDSA shrine this morning. The militant groups began marching toward EDSA, carrying banners and placards condemning the current administration. They said they were supposed to join the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the People Power Revolution. But when they reached Ortigas, policemen barred them from getting closer to the People Power Monument, where guests, including President Benigno Aquino III, were. It has been 3 decades since the historic EDSA People Power Revolution, but still, according to them, the true spirit of the revolution is fading.
Dinidisempower yung mamamayan, inaalisan yung mamamayan ng pagpapakita ng aral ng people power na ang mamamayan ang lakas, na sambayanan ang siyang puwersa sa lipunan natin. Yung aral ng people power.
Most of the rallies are young adults. In fact, some of them are minors. They were the ones who led in delivering lengthy speeches. Youngsters who actually have not witnessed the actual People Power Revolution that freed the Filipino people in 1986.
Kahit hindi ko yung naabutan, naririnig ko yung mga kwento, nababasa ko yung mga akda, at patuloy na sinasabi, napakadilim na panahon para sa mamayang Pilipino kasi yung martial law talaga, yung diktadurang Marcos.
Ang EDSA po para sa akin ay yung pagbibigay po ng mga salubin po ng bawat tao, ng bawat mamamayan, ng mga katulad naming mahihirap.
Mas pampamahalaan.
At around 1 p.m., a larger group of militants arrived. They waited for the program to close before they were able to get near the People Power Monument. However, they were restricted still because the main road had already been opened to the motorists. Some of them still pushed to get to the monument. They were able to reach Ortigas but not closer to the shrine because policemen in shields and helmets blocked their way. The world had once praised the unity that the Filipino people have shown 30 years ago. We hope that the peace and unity that symbolize the true spirit of the EDSA People Power would not be put in vain. Mon Hokson reporting for Y News.
Doctors and health practitioners gathered in Davao City in commemoration of the 30th anniversary celebration of EDSA People Power Revolution. Joy Domingo will tell us why.
Doctors and health practitioners of Davao City gather in commemoration of the 30th anniversary of EDSA. And like 30 years ago, change is also their clamor. This gathering is an initiative of the doctors and other healthcare professionals. This is only the fourth time where healthcare professionals participate in politics. First was during martial law, second was during EDSA 1, and third was during EDSA 2.
Movement ng lahat ng mga doctors, hindi lang doctors but med reps, nurses, dentists, pharmacists, medtechs, everybody coming out together.
The activity started in a motorcade where approximately 30 vehicles participated in 2 routes at the heart of the city. After the motorcade, they proceeded to a restaurant owned by one of them for a press conference. Former Mayor Sara Duterte also came as guest of honor of the event. Councilor Angela Librado also graced the event. She says this is a matter of principal support among these professionals.
We are happy that a lot of professionals are actually converging, coming together, doing these assemblies.
According to Dr. Jet Lu, this move on the part of the healthcare practitioners here in Davao is set to take off in other parts of the country as well.
Actually, Cebu has already pledged, Bacolod has already pledged, Bohol, and NCR is also coming out. So hopefully we will start the wildfire.
Chu further compares the previous people power to the present time, where people, he says, are joined in the spirit of volunteerism because of one desire. From Davao City, Joey Domingo reporting for Y News.
Residents of Calaca, Batangas who were affected by the recent fire in an LPG depot were allowed to return to their homes, even if the Bureau of Fire Protection has yet to declare fire out in the area. Grace Casen tells us why.
It has been 5 days since the fire broke from a liquefied petroleum gas or LPG depot inside the Phoenix Petroterminal Industrial Park in Calaca, Batangas. But until now, the Bureau of Fire Protection has not yet declared a fire out because one of the tanks is still on fire. However, the local government has decided to send the residents home to Barangay Salong and Barangay Camastilisan because the fire somehow is getting small.
Iniuwi na kami din ng mga barangay patrol ng buong Calaca. Bali 38 service na naghati dito sa amin, na buo sa barangay na lahat na residente ibinalik ng maayos.
Power and water supplies has also been restored in the said barangays today. 2 fire trucks are on standby in 2 barangays to assist in case the fire flares up again.
Masaya po dahil po wala po namang nasaktan. Di dapat po hindi na po ipagpatuloy yan. Dahil po yan po masamang epekto po dito sa aming barangay.
The management of the South Pacific Incorporated is set to issue an official statement once the fire is declared out by the BFP. Grace Casen reporting for Y News.
Authorities are investigating the fire incident that happened in a Luma dormitory in Davao City while looking into the possibility of arson. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police is looking into the possibility of arson inside a Lumad evacuation camp in Davao City. The fire began at dawn yesterday in a dormitory inside a compound where the Lumads are temporarily staying. Minutes later, another dormitory was set ablaze about 100 meters from the evacuation center. 4 individuals were injured in the incident, including 2 children. The Davao City Police says they are looking into the possibility of arson as the motive of the fire.
There was an alleged yung isang temporary shelter nila malapit sa gate 2 was made of light materials and it was suspiciously burned, and by identified suspects, so which resulted to the injury of Lumads.
Authorities are said to have recovered plastic bottles and gallons that contain liquid gas suspected to be used in the fire. The military denies allegations that they are involved in the incident.
Ang problema kasi, every time that we have incident like this, hindi naman kami ang kawawa eh. Sabihin na natin sa mata na kawawa dahil lagi kami binubugbog. But at the end of the day, ang kawawa rito yung mga biktima.
Eastern Mindanao Command Deputy Commander Ronnie Evangelista says they are willing to face the investigation should there be a fact-finding body created. Victor Cosare reporting for Y News.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, is continuously monitoring the activities of Mount Bulusan. The agency predicts that phreatic explosions of the volcano may happen again anytime soon. Joanna will tell us why.
Mount Bulusan might spew ashes again anytime soon. This according to Rudy Lacson, a senior science specialist and officer in charge of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division of the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS. Lacson clarifies, however, that such phreatic explosions cannot be concluded as magmatic eruption because they are not yet within such parameters.
Lagi naman natin sinasabing posible, tsaka pwede talaga mangyari dahil ito yung activity ng Bulusan Volcano. Pero hindi po natin inaano na maging magmamagmatic yan kasi po tinitingnan pa natin yung mga ibang parameters. So sa ngayon, ang regular na activity ng Bulusan Volcano phreatic. So hindi po naman natin na pe-predict yan. So anytime naman po, bigla na lang nangyayari yan.
Lacson adds that they are still monitoring if the volcano's phreatic explosion will increase compared to what was recorded last Monday. Because of this, the agency has called on the residents to be alert at all times. Lacson explains that the increase in volcanic quakes is due to the readjustment that is happening underneath the volcano. So far, they have recorded 28 quakes within a 24-hour period. This morning, PHIVOLCS has conducted a precise leveling on the slopes of the volcano. The agency says it would take several days before the result of the precise leveling on the ground deformation of the volcano is released. Joanna reporting for Y News.
The Department of Labor and Employment reminds employers and you to ensure the safety and good health of their workers. Darlene Basingan will tell us why.
The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, reminds employers and you about the Occupational Safety and Health, or OSH, standards. Part of every employer's responsibilities is to comply with the OSH standards. It aims to protect workers from danger, injury, or sickness that they may acquire or experience in their workplace or during work.
Voluntaryo o kusang loob na ipatupad nila ang mga occupational safety and health standards kasi makakabuti ito sa kanilang mga negosyo. Malusog at ligtas na manggagawa ay siyempre makakatulong sa kanilang mabuti o sa kanilang mga negosyo.
Although there are penalties under the present rules for the violators, DOLE says there is no enabling law that criminalizes employers' non-compliance to the said standards. DOLE sees this as one reason why there are still some companies that fail to comply with it.
Sa kasalukuyan kasi kulang ang ating batas. Yung mga aksidenteng bunga na hindi pagtupad ang mga occupational safety and health standards sa ilalim ng ating mga batas ay multa lamang ang parusa at walang criminal aspect.
From 2014 to 2015, DOLE found out that over 10,000 workers were affected by their employers' failure to comply with the OSH standards. DOLE says they are mostly found in construction and factory businesses. It can be noted that in 2015, dozens of workers were killed after a fire broke out at a slipper factory. Investigations revealed that the factory failed to comply with some standards under the OSH. DOLE is now pushing for a law that would criminalize non-compliance to OSH standards. The Labor Department also assures that it is continuously campaigning and monitoring employers' compliance to such rules. The DOLE also reminded workers to know their rights to a safe and healthy workplace and to report to them non-compliant employers. Meanwhile, the Labor Department is now crafting the Philippine Labor and Employment Development Plan for the years 2016 to 2022. DOLE targets to submit it to President Aquino in May. The President will then decide whether to recommend it to the next administration for implementation.
Isang plano ito ng mga serbisyo, programa, estratehiya at polisiya at imumungkahin ng Department of Labor and Employment ay patupad upang tuloy-tuloy yung sinasabi nating paglago ng ating ekonomiya at mabiyayaan ang ating mga milyon-milyon mga kababayan, maging kabahagi sila ng sinasabi nating paglago.
Darlene Basingan reporting for Y News.
Y News will be right back.
Sa UNTV Cup Season 4 Finals, abangan ang maaksyong best of 3 games sa pagitan ng AFP Cavaliers at PNP Responders. Game 1, February 28, 2016, Inares Sports Arena. Game 2, March 7, Smart Araneta Coliseum. Game 3, March 14, Smart Araneta Coliseum. Sino ang tatanghaling kampyon sa pagtatapos ng UNTV Cup Season 4, ang Liga ng Public Servants. Lingkod, laro, laban.
Despite early preparations being done by the Commission on Elections, the poll body still believes problems will definitely arise on Election Day. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
The Commission on Elections believes that they will encounter a number of problems on the very day of the election, and one of these is the complaints of those whose names are not on the voters list. COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez said this is because some people still believe that the No Bayo No Boto program of the Commission is still under a temporary restraining order. The poll body is also concerned about the alleged rampant vote buying. That is why they are appealing to the public to report personalities who are involved in exercising this illegal act.
Kung kaya nyo, picturean nyo ng patago, padala nyo sa sumbong ko, sabihin nyo kung saang presinto para ma-actionan ka agad. No?
The Commission is also appealing to the public to report acts of electioneering on the election day itself. An example of which is the use of children in the distribution of sample ballots and barangay officials roaming around polling centers wearing t-shirts bearing the mark of their political party. COMELEC is also not discounting the possibility that some ballots will be rejected by the vote counting machines. However, Jimenez emphasized that ballot rejection does not equate to a defect in the VCM.
Nung mock elections, nakita natin, almost 90% ng mga nireject na ballots, nireject dahil mali ang gamit sa balota. Sinulatan yung timing mark, sinulatan yung barcode. Pag ganun ang ginawa mo sa balota, talagang hindi babasahin yun eh. So pag nireject ng makina yan, it's actually a good thing. Kabahan ka, kung yung barcode na may drawing, tinanggap pa rin ng makina. Yun ang may dysfunction.
The poll body has also warned the public that some areas may encounter delays in the transmission of the election results.
Kasi kahit nga dito sa Metro Manila, bigla-biglang nawawala ang signal. Sa probinsya pa kaya, kung saan hindi naman ganun ka laganap rin yung mga cell sites. Ultimately, ang guarantee natin is that within 72 hours malalaman natin yung resulta.
Victor Cosare reporting for Y News.
The Philippines' relationship with Australia is further strengthened through improvements in tourism in both countries. Nunez will tell us why.
The Philippine Embassy has joined the Multicultural Festival in Canberra, Australia, to further promote and strengthen the country's tourism industry. More than 200,000 visitors and Australians joined the said festival. The embassy has promoted the beautiful tourist destinations in the country, such as Boracay, Cebu, Manila, and Bohol. Also, there were several Philippine products on display, such as native wallets, bags, and clothes. In an interview, Consul General Nina Cainglet says the Philippine-Australian relation remains strong even after 70 years. That's why Australia has been considered as a second home to Filipinos.
Yung presence ng students natin, our workers, Filipinos, lalong na strengthen lang yung relations na yun.
Conjen Kainglet says the Philippines has a lot of contributions that the Australian community values, such as in literature, arts, and sports.
Yung basketball, yung ating sports, love of sports is also an important contribution. And over the years, yung arts niyang contribution natin lumago.
Another character deemed important to Australia is the quality of service that the Filipinos render.
Mga Pilipino parang mga magaling magtrabaho talaga. And most Filipinos na pumunta dito, kumbaga marami silang mga skill talaga. So, nakatulong sa nation building ng Australia.
With the UNTV news team in Canberra, Australia, Ann Nunez reporting for Y News.
The tail end of a cold front affects the eastern section of central Luzon, while the northeast monsoon affects northern Luzon. Cloudy skies with light to moderate rains and isolated thunderstorms will be experienced over the provinces of Aurora and Quezon. The Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical Astronomical Services Administration says cloudy skies with light rains will prevail over the regions of Cagayan Valley and Cordillera. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated light rains is expected over Metro Manila, Ilocos region, and the rest of central Luzon. Meanwhile, cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms will prevail over the rest of the country. Moderate to strong winds blowing from the northeast will prevail over Luzon, and its coastal waters will be moderate to rough. Elsewhere, winds will be light to moderate coming from the northeast with slight to moderate seas. Three PKK fighters surrendered to Turkish soldiers. Meanwhile, a U.S. admiral says that China's deployment of missile radars and its building of runways on reefs is changing the operational landscape in the South China Sea. Ann Nunez tells us why.
In Turkey, a video released by the Turkish army on Wednesday showed three PKK fighters surrendering to soldiers after exchanging gunfire in backstreets of the southeast province of Diyarbakir's historic Sur district. Footage showed soldiers opening fire on targets and three PKK fighters coming out of the rubbles after being asked to surrender and being searched afterwards. A ceasefire with the PKK collapsed in July, wrecking a 2.5-year peace process that had been seen as Turkey's best chance to end 3 decades of strife in the restive southeast. The PKK is deemed a hostile insurgent force by Turkey, the United States, and European Union. It launched its insurgency in 1984. In Andorra, more than 10,000 unaccompanied migrant children have disappeared in Europe, according to Europol. Many have feared to have fallen into the hands of traffickers who are targeting minors for sex work and slavery. Since November, there has been a spike in the number of children making the dangerous journey to Europe. According to United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, or UNICEF, children make up about 40% of the arrivals. Nearly 1 of every 3 of the 62,000 migrants and refugees who entered Greece in January were unaccompanied minors. In the United States, the head of the U.S. Pacific Command says China's deployment of missiles and radars and its buildings of runways on reefs in the South China Sea are changing the operational landscape there. Speaking ahead of a meeting in Washington between China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, U.S. Pacific Command Admiral Harry Harris said China was continuing to escalate the situation in the South China Sea with new deployments. The United States accuses China of raising tensions in the area by its apparent deployment of surface-to-air missiles on Woody Island in the Paracel Island chain. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said China had every right to build on its own territory and deploy limited defensive means there. Ann Nunez reporting for Y News.
Swiss Stan Wawrinka beats Croat Franco Sugar in the second round of the Dubai ATP Tour in straight sets to land a spot in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, footballers and fans have something to be excited amid FIFA scandals. Aaron Romero will tell us why.
Scandal-plagued FIFA hasn't had much to celebrate recently, but its new museum is a rare positive news story for the organization. The building of the museum, with an almost $140 million investment dedicated to the soccer's legacy, started in May 2014, but its opening will coincide with the reign of a new president. Outgoing chief Sepp Blatter already has a space on one of the walls dedicated to his 18-year tenure, and there is a space reserved for whoever replaces him. Although the timing of the opening could be seen as unfortunate, Managing Director Stefan Joest believes it could help restore some of soccer's tarnished image. The Managing Director said he was expecting around 250,000 visitors a year to come and see the national jerseys of all FIFA members being displayed in the main hall, as well as the interactive exhibitions. Meanwhile, second seed Stan Wawrinka secured a spot in the quarterfinals of the ATP Dubai after beating Croat Franco Sugar in straight sets on Wednesday. After struggling in a 3-set match on Tuesday, in the first round, Wawrinka started the match in tight fashion, winning the first set 7-5. The Swiss then found his form and won the second set 6-1 to set up a clash against 8th seed Philipp Kohlschreiber from Germany. Aaron Romero reporting for Y News.
Facebook launches 7 new emotions, an extension of the like button. Meanwhile, Apple chief Tim Cook says that complying with a court order to help the FBI break into an iPhone belonging to one of the San Bernardino shooters would make hundreds of millions of customers vulnerable. Aaron Romero is back to tell us why.
Like it or not, Facebook's trademark like button just got more expressive. By hovering over the good old thumb up, users worldwide can now choose 6 different emotions, including angry, sad, and wow. The dislike button, however, is not one of the options. Facebook's CEO Mark Zuckerberg credited users with sparking the change. He said in a post that users wanted more options in responding to posts, especially sad ones such as the death of a loved one or a tragic news story. The company had been testing it in Ireland and Spain on iOS, Android, and desktops since October. Facebook says that initially, reactions will have the same impact on ad delivery as likes, inferring that a user wants to see more of that type of content. With time, the company hopes to learn to differentiate between angry and wow. The feature received mixed reviews from users on social networking sites. Many complained that they could not see the new emoticons, while some were unhappy that Facebook did not launch a dislike button. Meanwhile, in an interview on ABC News, World News Tonight with David Muir, Apple chief Tim Cook on Wednesday said that complying with a court order to help the FBI break into an iPhone belonging to one of the San Bernardino shooters would be bad for America and set a legal precedent that would offend many Americans.
I can't talk about the tactics of the FBI. They've chosen what they've done, and they've chosen to do this out in the public for whatever reasons that they have. What we think at this point, given it is out in the public, is that we need to stand tall and stand tall on principle.
Apple's chief executive officer also said there should have been more dialogue with the Obama administration before the U.S. Justice Department's decision to seek relief from a federal magistrate judge in California. Apple has publicly said it intends to fight the court order and has until Friday to respond. Apple has said the request amounts to asking a company to hack its own device and would undermine digital security more broadly. Aaron Romero reporting for Y News.
carpet for the annual Academy Awards was rolled out at Los Angeles Dolby Theater. Meanwhile, Cate Blanchett and Quentin Tarantino are honored with awards from the Costume Designers Guild. Precious Ong tells us why.
The countdown to the 88th Academy Awards officially kicks off with the rollout of the famous red carpet at the Los Angeles Dolby Theater. Crews unraveled the red runway down Hollywood Boulevard. The carpet, which will eventually span about 300 feet, will be tread upon by Oscar nominees like Brie Larson and Cate Blanchett as they arrive for the ceremony on Sunday. Other crews are busy constructing stages and platforms around the red carpet area, which will be ground zero for hundreds of members of the media. Meanwhile, one more award show leading up to the Oscars, the Costume Designers Guild Awards, was held in Beverly Hills, California. And the organization honored actress Cate Blanchett and director Quentin Tarantino with trophies.
I mean, everyone talks about an actor's relationship with the director, and often the most invisible relationship is the actor's relationship with the costume designer. And for me, it's foundational. It's where the whole process begins.
Blanchett was honored with a Spotlight Award by her costume designer for Cinderella and Carol. Tarantino accepted the Distinguished Collaborator Award. Other notables hitting up the award show include Kate Beckinsale, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Kurt Russell. The Oscars will be handed out on Sunday, February 28. Precious Ong reporting for Y News.
Those are the reasons behind the news, February 25, 2016. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
Because we need to know. We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.